Lawyers in the United States and the United Kingdom are suing Facebook, recently renamed Meta, on behalf of Rohingya refugees. They say the social media platform allowed the spread of hate speech, misinformation, and ultimately calls to violence, paving the way for genocide led by Myanmar's military. More than 25,000 people died and more than 700,000 fled the country. They seek $150 billion in damages.
Moving again. These Rohingya in Bangladesh have not been able to call any place home since they were brutally driven out of Myanmar. Some say Facebook is at least partly responsible for their fate. On behalf of some survivors of the violence, a U.S. law firm has filed a complaint accusing Facebook of contributing to hate speech and misinformation against the Rohingya. They say Facebook failed to restrict the spread of hateful content against the Rohingya, some of which was posted by fake accounts controlled by the military. Among the examples quoted in the lawsuit are phrases such as, "We must fight them the way Hitler did to the Jews." "Poor few and set fire so they can meet Allah faster." In 2017, the Rohingyas' houses were literally set on fire. As a result, hundreds of thousands began fleeing Myanmar. The UN went on to describe this as a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. Facebook's direct role in fanning extreme behavior was pointed out by whistleblower Frances Haugen.
The events we're seeing around the world, things like Myanmar and Ethiopia, those are the opening chapters because engagement-based ranking does two things. One, it prioritizes and amplifies divisive, polarizing, extreme content, and two, it concentrates it. The algorithms take people who have very mainstream interests and they push them towards extreme interests.
In 2018, Facebook admitted it was being used to incite violence. But it wasn't until Wednesday that its parent company Meta released a statement saying it banned accounts linked to Myanmar's military, also known as the Tatmadaw. "We are appalled by the crimes committed against the Rohingya people in Myanmar. We have built a dedicated team of Burmese speakers, banned the Tatmadaw, disrupted networks manipulating public debate, and taken action on harmful misinformation to help keep people safe." But nothing will be able to bring back the homes these Rohingya used to have.
Joining us is Mark Farmaner, head of Burma Campaign UK. Welcome to the program, Mark.
Thank you.
Can you get into a bit of the specifics about what kind of things were said, what kind of content was spreading on Facebook?
Well, we saw for many years the most horrific posts, cartoons, videos and memes being spread on Facebook, which were inciting hatred and violence against the Rohingya. The most appalling racist material, which Facebook consistently refused to take down.
Could you go a little bit into detail? I think it's so abstract that we want to give viewers a sense of, some of the content.
So Facebook was allowing posts which used racist language against Rohingya and other Muslims in Myanmar. Posts were inciting violence, calling for them to be killed, to be driven out of their country, to be deported, that they did not belong in the country. Cartoons depicting Rohingya and Muslims as violent, who were attacking children and babies and threatening ordinary people in the country. The list of the kind of racist and inciting material that was on Facebook is endless, and this was being reported to them. And even when they did actually review posts that we and others reported to them that were inciting violence and hatred, we got messages back saying this does not violate their community standards.
Now, your organization and many others have called for Facebook to face accountability for years, and now there's this lawsuit. And I see that Facebook has just announced it is banning all pages and accounts belonging to Myanmar's military and associated businesses. So I wonder, do you think this move was in response to the lawsuit?
It absolutely was. I mean, I was in discussions with Facebook only a few weeks ago about these pages. they were still adamantly refusing to take them down. They've known all along that these pages are used to promote military companies, to raise money, to help fund the crimes the military commit. So there was no new information that came out in the last few days about the role these companies play in funding the military. Facebook have known that. There's a UN report 2 years ago detailed that. The difference is that they are now facing legal consequences for their action, and this seems to be a sort of desperate move by Facebook to try to head off some of the consequences of their inaction in the past.
Right. Now, what more needs to be done? I mean, what would you like Facebook to do?
Well, there's a very long list. I think we see that Facebook are still allowing the military to use its platforms for propaganda purposes. You see people that are spreading military propaganda. They're obviously coordinated accounts that the military are running under the names of individuals or fake organizations that sometimes get taken down, but they just open up a new account. Facebook has not been dealing with that. There's still a lot of racist and other material that's inciting violence against the Rohingya and other minorities. And we've seen that the government Facebook pages, which I think they initially left up because of they were being used for health messages about COVID and other important things in the country, are now being used by the military for pure military propaganda as well. There's no difference from these accounts and the military's own Facebook accounts that were taken down immediately after the coup by Facebook. Facebook have not acknowledged yet its role and responsibility in the genocide of the Rohingya. We've seen them fight tooth and nail to get a ruling that they don't have to release information that they hold to lawyers who are trying to take a case to the International Court of Justice.
A lot of things that you would like to see Facebook do. Mark Farmaner, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.